Why did the USA and USSR become rivals in the period 1945 to 1950? War as a means to gain power in a juvenile feud between countries creates enemies, hate, and desperation. The Cold War that took place between 1945 and 1991 created further tensions between the Soviet Union and the USA. However, the people that truly suffered due to the strife between USA and USSR were Koreans, Vietnamese, Polish, and many others who were victims of a battle for power. Between 1945 and 1950, USA and USSR developed their rivalry that had begun as early as the Russian Revolution in 1917. This difference in ideological viewpoints would inevitably result in a confrontation between the two remaining superpowers after the Second World War. The foundation of differing ideologies of capitalism versus communism created an open door for events that were supported by different factors to take place and create a Cold War in which USA and USSR would struggle to beat the other in a game for power. The reasons for the development of the rivalry between USA and USSR in the Cold War were the need for power with the help of Truman and Stalin's personalities, Soviet and American policies, as well as wars and confrontations that were influenced by each respective country, in which all factors were the result of the groundwork of differing ideologies. Power and world dominance, together with control, are the strings to the puppet which pulls the greatest leaders to strive for the impossible. Both Truman and Stalin had a similar desire to win over the other and gain the largest power in the world, to be the only superpower to be dependent on. The struggle for the same prize created large tensions and rivalry between the competitive countries. American policies such as the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan was a policy of containment of military and economic aid to Europe and Asia Minor, caused USSR to be more aggravated due to the idea that USA's propaganda stunts were measures to crush the Soviet sphere of influence. This also appealed Eastern European countries to capitalism due to the implementation of America's, quote, dollar imperialism, unquote. These policies from the USA caused USSR to retaliate with drastic measures of violence and blockades in which to respond to USA's provocations and tauntings. Furthermore, the supply of wars and violence further bittered USA and USSR's relationship with each other. For example, the domestic violence in Korea and Vietnam were financed militarily by USA and USSR, and the struggle between them were executed with the use of other countries, causing casualties and massive losses in those countries. Stalin's personality as a Soviet dictator led to events that would further aggravate tensions between USA and USSR, such as the demolition in the Katyn forests and the use of military control and popular fronts in Eastern Europe between 1946 and 1948. Events were caused in the Cold War by rash and harsh behavior of Truman and Stalin, as well as the tensions that arose between the two superpowers. For example, as USA was a beholder of the atomic bomb, USSR endured more anger towards the USA through fear. Rivalry was further developed in 1948 as USSR initiated the Berlin blockade as a response to USA imposing the Deutschmark in Western Berlin, which promoted the viewpoint of capitalism. The rivalry between USA and USSR between 1945 and 1950 was only a development of the power and need for rule by both states, in which all factors that created their disputes were planted by the different ideological viewpoints. Both nations' hate for each other stemmed from the need for power and the attempt for different spheres of influence. As Eugene Rostow, a traditionalist, said, the Cold War was caused by the USSR's imperial appetite. And to quote the revisionist Michael Hughes, the atomic bomb did help seed the Cold War. Let's face it, the bomb was not just meant to buckle Japan into surrender. It was also a political statement towards the Soviet Union a statement of power towards a nation who practiced a political ideology different from America, which was unacceptable to the free democratic United States.